back again with another special guest, man. I'm excited about this one, man. We got the one, the only, the North Side repping, at Legos legend himself. Wow. We got Kelechi in the building. What's going on, my
man?
boy? How
Much
you feeling?
appreciated, man. Thank you.
Bro?
Man, I can't complain. I'm feeling great.
Yeah,
can't
staying
complain.
safe in these Atlanta streets, man. It's crazy out here, man.
That's what it looks like. It is. It's quite crazy. But you know, we just striving to maintain it, do what we can.
Maintain it. Okay, okay. So for those that don't know, man, you are from the North Side. You're from Marietta. We're from the same side of town.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, just between Marietta, Atlanta, just like the whole metro area, honestly. Yeah. But yeah, definitely a North Sider, you know. Yeah, let's go. Exactly.
Yeah, so, you know, you are, and I don't mean, I'm not just saying this, bro. You are like, if I've ever seen one of the most complete artists that I've ever seen.
Wow, I appreciate that, man.
From lyrics to song structure to hooks, to the performances, to the stage presence, like, man, you really have everything, bro.
I appreciate that, bro.
And I've been to a few of your shows. I've seen you rock it, bro. You are really one of the best, bro.
Wow, that means a lot. I think that means a lot, and it's those are the things I put the most like intentional work into.
Exactly.
So it feels good to hear that, you know, that there's, you know, some positive feedback for the things that I'm like, nah, these things got to be on point. You know, the rap's got to be on point, especially my stage show. I take a lot of pride in my stage show. So yeah,
it shows, bro. Like,
appreciate it, man.
For real. So, did you grow up a rap fan? Were you always into music?
Yeah. I think probably back to like early middle school, like 6th, 7th grade was when I started picking my own music. I think that's when we got like family computer, started like getting on like LimeWire and like stuff and just searching, you know,
like
whatever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think that's when I started like picking my own music to listen to. So I think early on it was like Jay-Z and like Eminem and The Game and Kanye West. Okay. And then I think eventually like those are like the artists who were like already stars at that time. And then it's like once I got into like late middle school, early high school, like, and I started like finding my own new artists. So it was like Wale, it was J. Cole, it was Drake, Big Sean, I'm trying to think. I was a huge Common fan, but like these are like the people who like once I started like looking up my own music and finding people who weren't already huge, that's who it was for me. So
you said you're a huge Common fan.
Huge.
Really?
Huge.
What was it about Common that stood out? Like, cause Common, he's lyrical.
It's the storytelling. It's the storytelling and the world building. I think what he did on B is like he made me wish I was from Chicago.
Oh, for real?
And I had never been. I didn't know what that meant or what Chicago was about. But when I heard that album, I was like, man, I wish I was from there. It sounds amazing. Yeah. So like that's a special album for me.
That's crazy because Chicago kind of crazy from what I hear.
Right. He made it sound good.
He made it sound good. Right. So that's pretty dope. You said J's, the Eminems, the Wale's. Yeah. So these are people that are all big dogs.
Yeah.
So what is it that you feel like you've, I guess, borrowed from them?
Okay.
Because with Common, you said the world building, the storytelling.
World building and storytelling.
What about Wale, Big Sean, these guys?
Yeah, I think with Wale, it's like there was like Wale, he's also Nigerian. Like he's from DC, but he's also Nigerian. So there was a bit of like, oh, I could do this too.
Okay, yeah.
For him with Wale, it's like it made it. It was representation. It made it like seem possible. I think with Cole, again, the storytelling. I think with Cole, what I really took was. Cole would tell these, like, if you really listen, they're kind of outlandish stories. And he always had this quote that he'll put on, like, his MySpace, I think, either MySpace or Twitter. But it was like, my story's not the only story I'm trying to tell. Yeah. And, like, that, I think, is really important because a lot of times, like, people will, I got a song called Immigrant Son, and it's like, I might hear, like, you know, some first-generation, like, Kenyan kid or some first-generation Indian kid be like, yo, you telling my story? And I had no clue. I was just talking my own shit, and it's like, oh, like, it becomes, you know, bigger than you. So I think that's kind of what I took from Cole is just, like, you tell your own story, but you tell other people's stories in this ways that, like, kind of transcend just what the song is about when you write it, because it kind of changes forms as people listen to it. So that's what I get from Cole, and everyone else. Just like it's lyrics, it's bars, and it's all of them got hits. So I try to figure out how to make a hit for myself.
And I think that's important because a lot of people, when we first started out rapping, I feel like everybody's tried to rap. Everybody in their hood tried to rap. Yeah. And you know, it's like we kind of all fall into what we see. Like we do the gangster thing, we do the bitches, the hoes, the gunplay. But what you just said is important because you came at it from telling your own story.
Yeah.
And it's actually more people that will relate to that because most people ain't living that lifestyle.
Which is wild. I think that I didn't have that mindset initially. I think I might have had like a little bit of, I don't know, maybe the words insecurity is like maybe no one wants to hear this or maybe no one wants to like, hear that perspective. But like that got like once I started really telling like my story for real, that's what got the most like reception. Yeah.
That's dope, man. And
appreciate it.
You bring up Cole. You have a funny story about Cole.
Oh, man, I got several stories about Cole.
So you met Cole. You met Cole in Gainesville, Georgia. Gainesville, Florida. I'm sorry.
Gainesville, Florida. Yeah, that was Was that the first time we met? I think that was the first time we met. I believe so. I believe that was the first time we met a few times, and then like it kind of gets blurred up in my head. But I think that was the first time we. That was
the first time you got.
That was the first time we met. Well, the first time we like met face to face. There was a time before that where he was doing like a walkthrough at a club that was close to where I worked.
Okay.
And we just like crossed paths very, very quickly, but it wasn't like a meeting, like a real interaction. But yeah. I met Cole in Florida. He was opening. No, Chance the Rapper was opening for him at University of Florida or Florida State. I think University of Florida.
Okay.
One of them.
Yeah,
whichever one's in Gainesville.
Right.
Yeah. And he was doing the show. I was cool with Chance and some of his people, so they invited us down. They was like, "I'm coming if you want." I was like, "Shit." It's like a 7-hour drive or 8-hour drive or something. So we just went. There was a song that I had written that I just really wanted Cole to hear. So I like wrote it, and I was like, hopefully, we could get like, some time, like, and it ended up happening. Like, I think my brother and my brother managed me, so he ended up, trying cooking it up, and we ended up just I played the song for him, and he was like, "Yo, this shit's good."
Right. It's good. He's like, "Yeah, it's good, man."
I had this big romanticized thing in my head of what it would be.
Like, I'm gonna get signed. I'm gonna play for Cole.
And then,
he gonna love it.
It's gonna be me and Cole and Jay-Z at the table having dinner, but it's like, nah,
that's
if
not
the
how it
song's
works.
good, that the most anyone can do for you is be like, hey, that's a good song, man, keep going.
Right.
And I think initially that was such a good learning experience for me because I think we have a perception that there's these moments like we hear about Big Sean rapping for Kanye. And we're like, yeah, Big Sean rapped for Kanye, then he signed him. Yes, but Kanye ain't signed him till a year, 2 years later.
Right. It takes time.
And then even after he got signed, he was shelved for a year after that. So it's I don't think a lot of times we hear things and it's this big romanticized, dramatic story, but it's just people gonna be like, yeah, man, good song.
Yeah, because people don't realize even big artists like Cole's who have their own labels, they're still artists themselves. And they have their own running around to do. Their schedule is probably busy, packed to the max.
Man.
So it's even for them to take the time to even listen to you.
Yeah, and it did mean a lot that he that he thought I was good. That meant a lot and still means a lot. I'm a huge Cole fan. So that was the cool thing. But I think that my expectation, which that's one thing I've learned in doing this music thing is I don't want to say lower your expectations, but almost rather than having low expectations, I try to encourage people to have no expectations.
Right.
The only expectations you need to be put on yourself, and that needs to be to work as hard as you can and put out the best thing you can. Other than that, we come up with plans all the time.
And then God laughs.
And God laughs.
God laughs at your plans.
It's expectations. That's they're nice to have, but I've grown less attached to them.
Right, exactly. That's dope. So, in I believe 2016, you won the Mountain Dew Green Label Challenge. What was that whole process like? Because that seems like number one, something that hundreds, if not thousands, of artists enter.
Yeah.
You stood out and set yourself apart from this huge sea of artists who are probably just as talented. Well, maybe not just as talented, but maybe close.
Probably, yeah. I think there's a degree. I mean, it felt good. It felt. It's funny. That was kind of the original. I want to say my first hustle was entering contests because we didn't have anyone in the industry who could look out. Right. We didn't have any connections. We didn't have any of that. So like whenever, if there was a contest to perform at a place, if there was a contest, you know, to do anything, I would just enter it. You know. Yeah. And that ended up, oddly enough, building a lot of my early connects. But it felt amazing. I think especially early on in, I think like 2016, 15, 16 is when I really started taking music serious. So I think that like to be recognized for anything, you know, early on, like within your first calendar year, especially something like, you know, getting 50 grand to make an album it's like validating. You know, it was really validating and it was cool. And it was cool to be able to have like the resources to be able to like make to work at the level, you know, or what you think is the level of, you know, how to get shit done. So it was cool. You know, we got to get all types of features and production and travel to places we otherwise wouldn't have been able to do. So yeah, that was a great experience.
So what were the parameters of the contest? Was it make a song and the best song gets chosen? Is that
it was like songs would get entered. Like everyone who was in the contest entered a song to be like judged or whatever, and then the winner got $50,000 to put towards their next album. Was like the parameters of the album contest. So
and you're independent, right?
Yeah, still totally independent. Still not signed to nobody. Yeah. So regardless of what the rumors are, you know what I'm saying? Still totally independent.
So I'm gonna ask you a question, man.
Okay.
And it's probably gonna burst a lot of people's bubbles, especially upcoming artists. I'm sorry, but we gotta tell you the truth.
I'm a big bubble burster.
How much does 50,000 get you? How far does that actually get you in your independent career? Because being an artist is not cheap.
Not as far. If you have absolutely no connections, not as far as you think.
Right.
Not as far as you think. I won't say it will get you nowhere. It'll get you some features. It'll get you some beats, and it'll get you some studio time. And you can pay some engineers. You can pay people to work for you.
Right.
But that's really it. Like I think that's the most important thing that like to communicate is that like money is really just a lubricant. It makes the process smooth. You know. But what money can do is it can create an environment for relationships to form. Exactly. You know, especially if the first time somebody works with you, everything's smooth and they get paid the next day, they go and work with you again. Right. You know, and I think that laid a foundation for me that kind of built a really professional reputation for me, just like in the industry. I think that the flip side of that is when the money's gone. When the money's gone, people still kind of have the expectation for the movement to still be the same. But I will say that like because of the professionalism and the quality and how hard we work, luckily like a lot of those like relationships stayed intact, or like you know my reputation went further, and I was able and have still been able to just like move off of some of those contacts and just like keep shit rocking. So
yeah, that's dope cool. Because I know that, you know, 50,000 is a lot of money. I'm not gonna act like it's not a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of being an artist and how much you really have to invest and how much advertising dollars and eyeballs cost.
It's a weird amount of money.
It's a
weird amount of money.
Right.
Like, it's a weird amount of money because it's not no money. You know
right.
It's definitely not nothing. But like once you get it, and then once you realize how things break down, you're like, okay, it ain't bad.
It ain't bad.
You know, it's not, but it's not life changing.
Right, but
it's not life changing. I think there's this. There was the expectation originally that it would be like, oh, this is it.
Yeah,
this is
it. Gonna take
this is this is it.
Yeah, I'm out of here.
Now. But it was definitely an important step, a very very important step.
Gotcha. Yeah. So again, you know, from Atlanta, what do you think about the Atlanta rap scene now? Like because we're probably around the same age.
Yeah.
And we've been through so many different
eras. A lot of eras.
Of Atlanta music. Like, what do you think of it now?
Right now?
What is your favorite? What is your favorite era?
I think right now we are in, and this might sound controversial, but I think that right now we're in like, I think that there's a vacuum for like that top spot. Free all them guys. YSL, they like, Thug is locked up.
Free Big Slime.
Gunna's free slime. Like Gunna's locked up. That whole, I think, infrastructure is in a weird place. You know, I watch the game from where everyone else, watch the game from. Like, I don't think that it's a coincidence that like Quan is getting some motion, and people are like, oh, nah, there's a scramble for that spot.
Right.
On the music side, of course, there's real life shit that goes with that. That is like, that's not for me to talk about. But on just the music side, I think that there's a scramble. I've seen something on Twitter where people are talking about, oh, like I can't wait to see, or I wonder what it would look like for like guys like Jid and Earth Gang or like Deontay Hitchcock to be like the top guys. You know, not only like respected creatively, but also just like on a mainstream, like putting numbers on the board level. We don't know what that looks like yet. But I think there's a vacuum for it. Like guys like the guys I just named, guys like me, guys like there's so many different vibes and so many different types of music, and I think that because of where Atlanta sits, is not only like a city in like the U.S., but where it sits is like a global cultural city.
Exactly.
Man, I think anyone could take it. I think it's anyone can take it and take it as far as, you know, whatever. However far they could take it.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, it is a very interesting time because, like you said, Rich Homie he's trying to make a comeback. You got some of these younger guys, of course, the babies, and like you said, Gunna's locked up. So it is, you know, it is wide open.
It's weird, it's weird. It's weird. It's an interesting time, but like it's also exciting because I think that right now, man, I feel like I'm leaving the ladies out, like Young Baby Tate.
Amaretta's not Atlanta.
Right, Amaretta, shout out Amaretta.
Shout out Amaretta.
B Taylor, she's a amazing lyricist as well from here. And it's like, yo, like there's so many vibes in Atlanta that like I stopped complaining about the scene a long time ago because there's a cup of tea for every drinker.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
But like as far as like where it's going to go in the next few years, this is kind of like one of those question mark times where we're like, we don't know. Right. I don't think we know yet.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Very much so.
Earlier you mentioned Chance the Rapper. How did that whole relationship come about? You guys pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. Chance, that's my guy. So his old manager, Pat Corcoran, he used to like own a blog online, and I used to, so outside of the contest, my other hustle was just sending music to everybody, you know? So I send music to every blog, I send music to every platform or whatever. So I think I just sent something out to him. They liked it. We ended up just becoming cool because like they were just in college at the time. I was in college. I was sending them music. They would send me events they were doing in Chicago and stuff like that, and I just became like cool and familiar with their movement. This is actually before he was managing Chance. We got cool, and then like I traveled up to Chicago a few times, crashed on his couch, and then we just kind of, you know, became bros from there. And then, you know, he introduced me to Chance in Atlanta. When was this? This might have been 14 or 15 when I met Chance, 2014 to 2015.
Oh, wow, yeah, that was
It was whenever Acid Rap came out in 2014, right? So this would have been the end of that came out in April. It was the end of 2014. Space Migration Tour with Mac Miller.
Okay.
So Chance was on that tour, and I think that's where we like met for real. We had like maybe talked online before that, but then we just got cool from there. You know, after that, this is 2015, so he blew crazy after that, and you know, we kept in contact. That's my guy.
So what do you guys kind of learn from each other? Sounds like you guys are kind of coming up around the same time.
That's a good one. I still probably to this day take little nuggets, especially his live show. Man, there are few people who can touch Chancellor Bennett on that stage. Right. That's you know, he's bad on that stage. Yeah. You know, so like I definitely take pieces of his live show, some of his cues, some of the way he talks to the crowd to just captivate people and keep people's energy between songs. And for me, I'm trying to think what he learned from me. I don't know what Chance learned from me. I mean, I'm trying to think. In 2019, he came out to the 85 to Africa tour. Okay. You know, so he kind of seen the African vibes a little early. That's happening right now. He was out there in 2019. So like he's going to Ghana with Vic Mensa. Okay. I think they're throwing a festival out there. So I don't want to say I taught him about Africa. But, you know, hopefully there was some sort of exchange there. Yeah.
Okay, that's dope. So the 85 to Africa tour, was that with Jidenna? Is that the one with Jidenna?
That was with Jidenna, yeah.
Well, how did that connection happen? Because I know he's from Africa
Jidenna,
too as well,
he's Nigerian as well. I think on his dad's side. And How did 85? Okay, so again, my brother, my manager, reached out to somebody who was working with Jidenna at the time. Had programmed a festival I had performed at before. So he was like, "Yo, you know, they're going on tour. You should like link us up." And my brother chased them around, you know, for some months, and then they like asked about me, and then we popped up to one of his. He was doing these pop-ups before the tour, so we just kind of popped up. I don't even think we met then. But yeah, it was just like kind of like my brother just like chased him down and was talking like, "Oh, no, we the truth."
Right. Yeah.
You know, and they did their research, asked around the city, and then they was like, "Yeah, let's go." We were talking about it for maybe a month before. We didn't get the confirmation until like 6 days before.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so and that was 32 cities. So yeah, we weren't sure until 6 days before. And then we were like, "Yeah, let's go." We just packed up everything. We rented a van and we got on the road.
So what do you think about the road life? Do you like it? Because I know that road is tough, man. I got a friend he does tour stuff. He tells me stories all the time, and I know it's not easy, man.
It's not easy.
It's necessary.
It's definitely necessary. Do I like it? That's a weird question. I think I was made for it. I'm comfortable in the chaos. I'm comfortable with the discomfort. I'm comfortable with the not knowing what time anything's happening until it's happening. And I like it. I like it. I like it, but it costs something. You know, it costs comfort. Right. It costs a lot of money. It costs stability. But you're trading that for platform, the eyes, being able to connect with fans. So everything has costs. Right. But yeah, I'm not one of the kind of people. But yeah, the road is like the most amazing. But it is rewarding in ways that are not immediate. And I think that's the thing. It's interesting. I was watching a Lil Baby documentary.
Yep, that was
last night, and he was talking about going on the road. It was hard for him at the beginning because he was making street money.
Right. Yeah,
so like to get out and be like, what am I even driving 10 hours to go do this for? Like I understood that because it's like sometimes you got to get on the road and go and do that show. For whoever's there when you get there. So like it's not all. It's not all that glitters is gold, but there's a bunch of fun aspects to it. What I really love about touring is meeting a lot of people, and I love being able to keep my social skills sharp, being able to talk with a lot of people, meet with a lot of people, talk with a lot of different types of people. Yeah. I think it keeps my mind and my personal skills really sharp.
I'm sure it widens your experiences. It can take that back to the pen.
Exactly.
So, do you have a favorite city to perform in, or do you have a favorite type of crowd? Besides Atlanta, I know Atlanta.
I love Atlanta because I be so comfortable here. Right. Like I be dumb comfy when I perform in Atlanta. I probably be acting up. But I will say, recently, New York has crept up into one of my favorites. And it's so funny because everyone always talks about how, bro, New York is a rough city. The audiences in New York, they don't really like nobody. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. Every time I perform in New York, it's love.
Really?
Like it's overwhelming love. Like it's crazy. So like, I don't know. To me, it's like, yo, if y'all niggas is just not fine on stage, maybe that's it. Maybe niggas are not very, very good. That's what I realized it was. Cause like,
AKA he better than y'all, man. That's what he said.
Because to be honest, like I think that in New York, because there's so many people, they not wowed over anything, So if you're mediocre, nah. If you're just good, nah. If you're just very good, it's not enough.
You gotta be great.
You gotta be great. But if you're great, they're gonna show you love. Yeah. They show you love in New York if you're great, definitely. So I'd probably say right now, I gotta give it to NYC.
Okay. And New York, I've been in New York a couple of times. It's cool, but it's just too much for me, man.
Oh, it's a lot.
I can't take it. Bro.
I could never live there. Shout out to New York. I would never choose to live there.
I couldn't do that, man. Just the subway alone is just
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Boy, please. Okay. And so you mentioned your brother a few times. Mm-hmm. You mentioned your mom a lot in your music.
Yes.
How important is your family to what you have going on? Did they support you always 100%?
I used to say no, but retrospectively, I think, Like, I think when my parents originally, it was like not even a misunderstanding, but like they were like when I'm like, yo, I want to do music, that don't mean nothing.
Right.
Like it don't mean nothing.
You better get you a job, boy.
And it's not even because, it's because it's like it's like they done left Nigeria, came to another country, they don't know nobody. to build a better life for their kids, and then it's like you gonna be a rapper,
Right.
like, so I understand like why it's like not like where it comes from, because it's like there's a desire to want your children to be safe and stable.
Right. Exactly.
But I think that what I did over time is I built something for like myself to be proud of, which in turn gave them something to be proud of.
Absolutely.
I think that like a lot of times, and I kind of became like the pseudo dropout like rapper, because like I dropped out of school to do music, and a lot of times people are like, yo, my parents don't understand, like I want to drop out of school to do music, and like I tell people like it's not for them to understand, like it's on you to do enough work and to make it work and have enough results to where it's undeniable for them to, they'll just be like, oh, this is something now, you know, and you know, most parents don't want to, you know, shit on their kids' dreams. Like that's not what they want to do, but it's like for in an attempt to want, you know, to wanting me to be stable. The original thing was like they weren't super supportive of the music, but you know.
They came around.
They came around, you know what I'm saying?
They saw you was making moves,
a little bit of face card came in, you know, people telling them what I'm doing, that feels good for them. So I think that it just took some time and it took some work on my end, but you know, we made it happen.
Okay. Yeah, that's dope. I know it's like you going to your parents and say, I want to be a clown. Like, I want to go to clown college. They're going to be like, what? Clown?
They don't get it. And people need clowns.
But people need clowns. It's a job. It's clowns everywhere. It's clowns somewhere around here. But it's just like, you got to make them believe it.
You got to make them believe it. And that lies on you. If you got a dream, it's not on anyone else to believe. Like, you got to make them believe. You know, they don't owe you that.
And you did enough to make it to a level where you're actually recognized for what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I know that
feels good.
Yeah, obviously makes them proud.
It feels good. It feels good. At my birthday this past week,
Happy belated.
Appreciate it. No, but not this past week. This like this is in July. This is in
July. Okay.
But last yeah.
Happy belated anyway. Still.
At my birthday though, my mom was talking. My mom got a shortcut, so she went to the barber shop, and the barber that was cutting her hair, she had found out that I think he went to high school with my brother. So like they was talking, and she was like, she had ended up saying, oh, you know, my son Kelechi. She was like, oh, your son's Kelechi? And it was like she had this whole conversation with somebody who had like known me from like, you know, from then and seen everything. And like it feels good to know that like, you know, if she says my name around town, it's nothing but good things that she's gonna hear back. So like it's stuff like that that's like the intangibles, the moments that it's like, okay, we doing something. It feels okay. It feels pretty good.
And funny thing is, you know, I actually went to school with your brother too. Shout out you Conduit, man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you. So how is it like having your brother as your manager? Do you guys fight? Or
yes. We fight every day.
Every day?
Every single day.
So where do the disagreements really stem from? Is it you should make this move? I don't want to make that move. We got this show. We got money to get here. I don't feel like.
That's so funny. What do we even be fighting about? We fighting about nothing. I think, mostly it's about focus of attention.
Okay.
It's like where should our energy be put, you know, and I think that as a creative and then as somebody who like the performance is also the humanity at the same time. Right. Like sometimes I'm a little nitpicky about things. And then, you know, and then on his end, it's like, it's usually, his fight is to try to get me to like think about less things. And then my fight is like, hey man, like, I actually care about these things. We should think about them. But it's just a balance. Like, it really don't be about nothing. It really don't be about nothing. But I think the good thing is like, at the end of the day, I never have to double check his intentions. You know, I never have to be like, he's my brother. So it's like, I think that I know that if there was no lights and no stages and we weren't on tour, he would care about me, you know, as a person. So like, I think there's a certain like rewarding, you know, clicked up feeling that I get there that I'm not gonna get from nobody else.
You trust him because the industry is full of what can you do for me, basically.
It is insane. Right. It is an insane place. The music industry is a very, very strange place.
It's predatory. It really can be predatory. If there's no check attached to you, no opportunity attached to you, they'll throw you back. You know? It's like you catch a fish, you can't do now with the fish, you throw it back.
Let it go. Let it go.
But that's dope because, you know, family is important. And to have your family involved in your career.
Yeah.
Especially a career that you need a good manager. You're gonna need a solid manager, one that has your best intentions.
Yeah, it's cool. My family has kind of become kind of like like secondary and like ancillary characters in this kind of story about myself that I tell. Like I have fans who are like fans of my mom. I have fans who are like fans of my brother and my sister, who's an amazing artist as well. Like people who come to find my sister just through me. So it's cool that like it's not just me in this. It's like a whole it's a whole thing. Yeah.
That's dope, man. That's dope. So you had the album Going Home.
Yes.
So
Dropped in
you
2020.
You went back and performed in, was it Lagos?
It was in Lagos in Nigeria.
So what was that? First of all, where did that idea even come from? Like, it seems like it's like a duh. Why wouldn't I do this? But a lot of people would not even make that connection. So how did you come up with that idea and then see it to fruition?
Man, okay. So we do the 85 to Africa tour in 2019. Shout out to Jidenna forever for that. That was an amazing opportunity. You know what I'm saying? That was amazing. And I think what that showed me was I got to be like on the ground seeing, I got to see what was coming, So it's like last, and ain't no Essence, and there's no, Selena Gomez doing songs with Rema, and then there's none of that, It's just this kind of, I don't want to say this is the beginning of kind of like the Afro beats in the States kind of like getting the push it's getting, because it's been happening for a long time, but like I think that was a key moment. So I got to be moving around the States. This is like right pre-pandemic, so it's like I'm moving around the States and kind of seeing this movement that there's a demand for this kind of music. At the same time that like right before I went on that tour, I had started experimenting with African music and experimenting with Afro beats and like Afro pop and just messing with it. So it really just lined up that the tour I went on and the music I was making before kind of happened to work. So I ended up with some of the music I was making before, going on that tour, performing it, kind of getting this reputation as this kind of like not even half, but like 100% African guy, 100% Nigeria, Atlanta kid.
You can do both.
And that kind of became, what was kind of like put on me with that tour. So like as I was making music coming off that tour, I was like, okay, cool. Sonically, I'm going home. Sonically, that's just what it was. We didn't really have plans to go. So we went to Lagos in this is 21. Yeah, so we dropped the album at the top of 2020, or we start dropping the album. We drop like a single every week, and we're just like pushing it out that way. But it wasn't until the end of 2021. But we announced it in July. We told people, hey, we're going to do this show. Started selling tickets, and it just all kind of worked together. The music, the tour we went on, the music I had, and my goal of like performing in Nigeria, they all just kind of worked. It wasn't linear at all. I know it looked that way.
It makes sense.
When people ask me, they're like, "Yo, did you have it playing the whole time?" I'm like, "Nah, man. God is writing this. I'm just the character in the story."
Dope. So how was the actual show? Was it what you expected?
Man, yeah. Honestly, it kind of was. It was better than what I expected. I kept saying like, I mean, I'm trying to think of the biggest show we've done in Atlanta, but like. Definitely a few hundred people, but like I think it was like 250 people came out, and this is in another continent. And then, you know what I'm saying? So like it was way beyond anything. I was like, if 20 people come out, we gonna rock it like I said. What I said to my brother, I said if 20 people come, it's Madison Square Garden. Like that's how I'm treating it. That's what I'm doing.
It's an arena, man.
Yeah. So like the fact that many people came out and showed love. Shout out to all the other artists who came out and performed too. There was like other artists who came. And it was a cool, like, homecoming situation. It was really, really, really cool. I'm glad that it got to happen. So,
that's dope, man. I know that was an experience. So, for African Americans, can you tell us what Nigeria, what Africa is really like? What are some of the main differences?
Man, I mean, the main difference is really everything, bro. Wow. It's a completely different. It's a whole different world, but and not in the sense that. It's weird because it's like it's a whole different world except everybody black.
Yeah, right.
So it's like even though there's a sense of feeling like out of place, you're also blending in a way that you're not used to blending in here. But man, I think that it's hard to. How do you explain it? You know, it's
just completely different.
Yeah, it's totally different. I will say that like there's a certain respect just for your fellow man there, and I think that it's because there's a shared. You know that there's a base shared culture. You know, and I think that helps a lot.
Not a collectivist mentality.
A little bit more.
Very individualistic in America.
Yeah, here's a little bit more individualistic. I think that, that there's a little bit more of that, and then like, but they really embrace like people who go there from the States. So yeah, like Black Americans, anyone. If you go over to Nigeria, like people they respect it. They're like, oh, we're glad, like welcome home. They'll hit you with a welcome home because it's like, yo, this is. You know, they know what it is. So, like, yeah, it's amazing. It's beautiful.
I did my ancestry, and I'm like 63% Nigerian.
Oh, we cousins.
Yeah. we cousins, bro. Oh, man, for sure. Yeah. Man, I hate to do this to you, my boy.
Oh, man.
Man, we got beef with Wizkid, man. What's going on?
Oh, nah. I ain't got no beef with Wizkid. He got beef with me, man.
He got beef with you? Who got beef with me, man? What happened there, man?
Man, okay, so... I've been this year. So when we dropped Going Home, we were like, yo, what else can we do to promote it? We were like, yo, I'll drop these freestyles. So I did a freestyle to like several Burna Boy songs, a couple Wizkid songs, some Davido songs, but like any song that would get hot in like the Afrobeat space, I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna do a freestyle to it. I did one freestyle to Essence, and I did another one to Blessed, which was on Made in Lagos by Wizkid. And it went really crazy on Twitter, crazier than anything else I've done on Twitter. And I mean, we were spamming a little bit. There was some spam involved, but at the same time, it's like, you know, Wizkid walks to private jets all the time. I'm not getting private jet money, so I don't have that kind of, you know, marketing dollars to push. So I got to do what I can. Honestly, what it was I would drop these freestyles and they would go pretty viral, and I didn't always take the time to remove his @
Okay.
And it was probably a lot. And there's no way his mentions weren't full of my shit. So they was like, let me just block this guy, get him about the paint.
You could have muted it. He didn't have to block it. He could have muted it.
It's all good. It's all good. I get it. Hey, man, Wizkid, unblock me. You know what I'm saying? FC, the whole, that's his whole fan club. Like they go hard. If you think
Nikki.
If you think the Barbs are intense, if you think the Beehive is intense, Wizkid FC is up there with them. So I don't want no smoke with none of them. I don't want no problems with none of them.
I said something.
Just Wizkid, hit me with the unblock. That's all I need. You know, that's all.
So on your Bling freestyle, you said you feel like Sunny Ade meets Andre 3000.
Ah, that's hard.
So what do you feel like you see in yourself in those artists?
I think that as I've kind of explored and not even explored, just experimented more with like African sounds and African music and Afro beats and Alte and Afro fusion, and there's so many layers. Because that's the thing, a lot of people think it's just Afro beats.
Right. Yeah.
That's like if somebody come up to you and say, I make rap music. You don't know what it sounds like. You can sound like J. Cole. You can sound like Lil Uzi Vert. It don't tell you nothing. So like saying that I make like Afro beats, it's not really, it's not that. It's nothing really explained. It's just more so, okay, cool. That's a very general genre.
So that's a specific type of Afro beats that.
Yeah, there's all types. So it's like, I mean, I think that I lean towards what we call Afro fusion, which is kind of like Burna Boy says he's like Afrofusion. Gotcha. But there's so many just like genres and layers to it. Man, what was the question? What did I miss?
Sunny Ade and
Sunny Ade, yeah.
Andre 3000.
Yeah, as I experiment more with the vibes, it's like I feel like I stand at a gap. There's kind of a cultural gap that like I'm lucky enough to be right in the middle of. And I can pull people from this side and be like, yo, this is what people are doing over here. Right. And I can pull people from over here and be like, yo, this is what they're doing over here. Right. And it's like I can kind of make it make sense for both sides.
Bridging the gap.
Yeah, exactly. I can bridge the gap in a way that not every other artist can. So that's kind of what it is. That's what I mean when I'll do stuff like that all the time. I'll be like, you know, I'm Sunny Ade meets Andre 3K or whatever, or it'll be but I got a bar. What is that other bar? Lemon pepper suya. I feel like Kuti mixed with Luda. Like it's just like all types. Of, you know, it's just like just like putting it together and making it. You know, being able to just like share the culture and have people meet in the middle and understand each other. That's really the point.
That's hard, man. That's hard. So on Niggas Really on Tour, you got a song called Niggas Really on Tour. You say when you get rich, you hope it's fun still, man. You still having fun out here, man? Is it work or is it still fun, man?
It's still fun. It's still fun. Mm-hmm. It's still definitely fun. It's a lot of work though.
Right.
It's a lot of work, but it's still fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what happens is as it becomes more work, the fun is less frequent.
Okay.
But it's more fun.
It's more fun, right?
That makes sense. So
right,
it's less frequent. Mm-hmm. I think when you first start out making music, you getting up with your homies every day, just going and recording, you hanging
freestyling,
out, folks smoking weed. It's just fun, and it's fun all the time. But then, you know, as it's, we got to do this 16-hour drive, or we got to do, you got to whatever it is, you got to shoot a music video. Y'all gonna be there for 9 hours. Maybe the process of, or even the process of making the song. Me and my homie Faye, we talk about how it's only fun the first like 25%. After that, you're just tweaking and doing small things, trying to get it perfect. So like, I think as we go on and as we grow, the fun is less frequent. But when it happens, it's like, we on tour. It's like we in LA right now. We in Minneapolis, just like off making rap songs.
You ain't a Horseshoe Bend no more.
You know. Oh, you took it back. You know what I'm saying? So like that's really what it is. But yeah, it's still definitely fun, but it's still definitely work. It's both. It's definitely both.
So for the upcoming independent artist that sees what you're doing, that says, man, Kelechi took it there. I want to take it even further, man. What are your words of wisdom to him, to your younger you that's out there watching you right now?
Man, to take it where we took it and take it further, I would say start now. I would say I did, my own vulnerability. I'll say I took a lot of time just thinking, and being kind of frozen and indecision, like should I do, should I?
Analysis paralysis.
And I would say start today. Start scared. Don't wait until you're brave. Don't wait until you got the money. Don't wait until you think you're doing it right. Because even right now, I feel like I'm just failing in public. Like, or maybe not failing, or
you're risking it.
I'm risking it. Or people might say, "Oh, damn, Kelechi, he took off, he flying." I'm like, I'm just falling with style. Like this is Buzz Lightyear shit right now. I'm just falling with style because, again, like we make plans, they don't turn out. They might not turn out how we planned. It still might be amazing, but it might just be in some sort of different kind of way. So really, it's about don't be scared to act. Make sure you just start. Don't be too much in your head, and like release music. Music frequently, constantly, and don't get to a point to where whenever people like play me stuff and they're like, I'm going to do this and this, I'm like, drop it.
Right, yeah.
Because it does you no good on your hard drive.
Exactly.
It can't do a song can do you no good on your hard drive. Right. So, I'll like release often, release as frequently as you can.
Stay in their face.
Yeah, stay in their face. And that's really it. I'm trying to think of what else. And I think the most important thing I did and that I didn't know I was doing at the time is take the time to get good. Okay. I took a lot of time at the beginning of my career and got very good. Yeah, Nothing was shaking for me. No one was checking for me. Right. I wasn't on no blogs. No one wrote about me. No one wanted to interview me. But I was just taking time to get good. Right. And, that happens at a different rate for everybody. I think the Lil Baby, he got real good in like a year. Right.
Yeah, he did.
It's a different rate for everyone. But like for me, like it took me probably like, I say I wasn't even really good until like 5 years in. And that was my own path. I think everyone has a different path. So
you put that 10,000 in.
I definitely put it in. I definitely put it in several times over.
Yeah. So so what's next for you, man? You dropping some music? You back on tour? What's going on, man?
We just dropped. I just dropped a 2-pack called Same Old Different. So I have a single on there called Same Old, single on there called Different, featuring the homie to Libyan, straight from Lagos. So, you know.
Shout out to him.
Yes. So we just dropped that. I just got off I did some shows with Rema. I did some shows with On My Lay, like up and down the East Coast. So it was like 5-6 shows, so we just put it all together. It was like the Road to At Lagos tour, because my next album, At Lagos, is on the way. So in the same sense that earlier we were talking about, like, you know, bridging the gap and bringing people from like the Black American side and bringing people from like the African side, and like, you know, just having a meet in the middle. That's what At Lagos is about. It's about meeting in the middle. It's about both sides of the culture. It's just as trapped out as it is, you know, Afro beats. It's everything. So like that's the next project, and that's coming. That's coming before the end of the year, definitely.
Before the end of the year,
definitely.
You know we're gonna support it, my boy.
Much
we're gonna
appreciated.
support it, and I need one of them At Lagos jerseys.
That's
bro.
happening. That's happening. So I got my own custom one. We'll have them out for sale, like, again, probably top of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, Kelechi, man, I appreciate you, man. It was
Thank
a
you,
pleasure,
man.
man.
Thank
You know,
you.
we looking forward to everything you're doing,
Thank
and
you,
we'll
bro.
see you in the future, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.